City of Stevens Point Finance Committee meeting, recorded July 12, 2021.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and others. Got to remember that. It's the inclusive way to say that. Welcome. It is 7:21. I'll call the meeting of the Stevens Point Finance Committee to order. Our first non-action item is a roll call.
Okay, Slowinski and Shore are both excused. Then we have Morrow.
Here.
Johnson.
I'm here.
And Dalton.
Here.
3 present, that is a quorum.
We made it. So, all right. Thank you very much for that. And moving on, our first item under discussion and possible action is discussion and possible action on a relocation of Parks Department capital budget and award of contract, Iverson Park restroom replacement. There was information, but I thought I saw you. Director Kramer, please enlighten us.
The memo in the packet overviews ultimately what we're looking to do. We opened bids for the project. We were successful in getting 4 bids, which was good. And you can see they're pretty close in comparison. We were about $10,000 off the mark of our original budget allocation for the actual project. So we weren't too far out in a budgeting standpoint, but we did run into some permitting issues with the flood elevations because the Plover River has not been identified before. So we had some additional money up front. So what we're looking to do tonight is to award the project so we can accomplish the goal of updating that restroom. And we were fortunate that we are under budget. Gerke Tennis Court project was one of the large ones. So we're asking for permission to reallocate from one parks bucket of money to the other bucket to try to do this project. So looking for just under $40,000 and recommendation of award to Eagle Construction.
All right, thank you, Director. I would entertain a motion.
Alderman, I'll make a motion to approve the reallocation of the capital budget and award the contract to.
I second. Alder Morrow.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the part of the committee members?
Anytime you could update a bathroom, that's a good thing.
Well, given construction costs, I'm sorry, I'm Chair, I shouldn't be commenting, but given construction costs, you're lucky to get away with 40.
Yeah, to be honest with you, we were nervous the whole way just because we didn't know. Luckily, there's a lot of brick in this building. Otherwise, it would have been even worse.
Yeah, sticks would be more
Yeah,
expensive.
definitely.
Comments from the public? All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed would be no. And the motion carries. Next item is discussion and possible action on request for additional funding for the fire department training site. And Chief, I believe you're up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm here to request an additional approximately $20,000 in consultant and permitting fees. We have $100,000 currently in capital for this year for the training site. That money is allocated almost to the penny. After working with city engineering and everybody, the way it was engineered, it was decided the city engineering couldn't do this plan and that what's the name of the firm, Worker or Melky, can get the permitting and the consultant stuff done faster. And we're just asking for, after talking to Comptroller Laddick, use money from someplace else, whether it be under costs of other capital projects or contingencies, therefore not delaying the training set anymore.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Comptroller Treasurer, did you have anything to add?
Sure. So typically when you have a capital project and it's coming in over budget, the first step is to ask that department if they have anything else coming in under budget. And occasionally you do have that where there are other capital projects that come in under budget. Did talk to the chief about that, and he's not able to commit right now to any of his other projects coming in under budget. So then looking at, okay, what else can we do? And given the dollar amount, I think that we can rely on other capital projects citywide coming in under budget, just based on past experiences. Typically, you'll have a few that do come in a little bit under budget, so would be the source of the funding. And of course, it depends on the dollar amount. We can't do that for everything, but given the dollar amount on this one, I think we can make it work.
And the money that we have allocated, the 100,000, it possibly could come in a little under budget, but I'm not counting on that.
No. All right, thank you. I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Just going to go back and forth. We have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there discussion or questions on the part of the committee?
I guess my only other question would be, is there any case that the timeline for this project would extend into 2022 so that some of the capital expenses wouldn't actually be incurred this year?
For this particular project or the training site itself? The training site itself, we have a 5 and 10-year plan,
Yeah,
but this particular money will be all used in 2021.
okay.
Instead of using it in the spring, it's going to be pushed back to the fall, but it will be used.
Good question. Sean? Yeah? No?
I'm good.
No? Okay. Questions from the members of the public? Alder Kneebone, please.
Thank you. Mary Kneebone, District 7 Alder. This facility is too important, not only to our firefighters, but all the people that will come in to train at this facility. So for this small amount of money, have to make this work. Thanks.
You're very welcome. Anyone else? Oh, Chief, did you have something else?
Since Alder Kneebone brought it up, I'd just like to mention that even though this is a limited accessible site right now, Grinnell Insurance is here with 120 people in town, and they've built 10 burn cells that will be burning for them tomorrow. It's a 3-day training class that they're putting on in Stevens Point because of their training site.
Nice. Thank you. That's wonderful. I'll just briefly say that when I had the discussion with Corey to set the agenda, and he mentioned this, and I said, and at that point, I didn't have a memo or any, and he came up with the cost. I'm like, oh, that's pretty reasonable. So that was my initial inclination, so. All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Anyone opposed would be no. Motion carries. Thank you,
Thank
Chief.
you.
You're welcome. Next item, item 3, discussion and possible action on claim for damages Mitchell Craven vehicle struck curb.
Yes, so the claim is related to a vehicle that was trying to get around some painting cones for the painting crew that they had closed part of the lane of traffic, and did strike the curb and did damage to his tire and his rim. Did get a statement from Department of Public Works that other vehicles were able to get through, including a large truck. So we did talk to our insurance company, and they gave us a recommendation to deny the claim.
All right, we have a recommendation. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to deny the claim.
Is the possible claimant here?
I don't
I
think
don't
so. I think I know everyone in the room.
Yeah, or even
I think we all
online.
do.
Yeah. I do have a motion. Is there a second?
Yes.
Okay.
Just
So
wanted to make sure that the person wasn't
That
here.
would have been we would ask that after the second probably, but. Any discussion? Discussion from members of the public? All right. All those in favor of denying the claim, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed would be no. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 4, discussion and possible action on request for funding of one-way pair conversion study of Clark Street and Main Street from Water Street to Minnesota Avenue. I was going to say, both of you
Ryan?
are you going to team it up?
I don't think we both fit up here, so. Essentially, before you tonight is a request from Community Development and Public Works to look at the conversion of Clark, Main, and Center Point and Water Streets to reestablish the two-way system. Within the proposed scope, there are 4 different alternatives. Of course, keeping one of those alternatives as is the 5th alternative that's not listed. But within the memo itself, alternative 1 would be to keep the one-way pair with the possible lane reduction, enhanced pedestrian and bicycle accommodations on Clark Main Center Point. Alternative 2 would be a balanced traffic dispersion between both Clark Main and Center Point. Alternative 3 would be to favor Clark Street as part of the two-waying, and alt 4 would be to reestablish the grid system. So this is staying pretty consistent with what the city's been talking about doing since essentially the 90s, after the mall was pretty much deemed to be kind of on its way out already. So we've identified this through our comprehensive planning, downtown master planning, not only the most recent iteration, but previous iterations as well. And then, of course, looking at the Water Street between Center Point, 2nd and 1st, and the Clark Street Bridge and Water Street intersection as well, and how do we reduce the lanes there, and what makes sense moving forward. So this is not what I would consider, or what Scott would consider to be a 30% design. This is really just conceptual, what makes the most sense. And really part of the catalyst for this is of course the Division Street 30% design that we're working through right now. It is critical that if we're going to be looking at converting Clark Street and Main Street to two-ways, that those intersections at Clark, Main, and Division are appropriately planned for that. It doesn't make any sense for us to do all this planning and then in a few years convert those two and spend a ton more money in those intersections itself. So you do also have a letter of support from Alder Shore and Bill Sherrill as well, supporting the one-way conversion study itself. So staff's recommendation is approval.
All right, I would, Director Badoon, did you want to add anything, since you don't both fit up there apparently?
Right, since we don't both fit up here. Yeah, apparently I must have been putting some on, I don't know. I guess really just one thing from my perspective, because I know it's been brought up since we first had this from a number of individuals, is it's not a small study. I mean, it's a longer corridor, and I think when looked at, the cost, I think is very reasonable for what it is, given the length of the corridor they're looking at, as well as the even though it's more conceptual and not getting to 30% design, it needs to be done at the same level of engineering as the Division Street. Otherwise, the results of one won't necessarily mesh with the other. And that's really where the cost of that starts to rise, because we could look at some much more simpler concept ideas, but that's more or less like what the planning documents have already done so far for us today. So really just my only comment is, we have been through with AECom on the costing. They were of course higher. We brought them down here. We talked about it. And this is where we come in. I think this is a reasonable cost for what they're proposing to do.
I agree, thank you. All right, we have, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for funding for the one-way pair conversion study of Clark and Main Street.
Is there a
I will second that motion.
We do have a second, wonderful. And Comptroller Treasurer, if you just want to, we probably should have a little bit of a public discussion about how the funding, so.
Sure. So the funding for this would come out of the Business 51 Fund. The original source of that was the jurisdictional transfer dollars that the city got from the state when it took over jurisdiction of Business 51. The current balance in that account as of today is $2.1 million, which I know sounds like a lot of money, but we have a very expensive project ahead of us. We still have a lot of design to do, and then of course actually building it, certainly, that money will go quick. But we do have that fund available to do this study. And the reason why we would use that is because we do see it as part of the Business 51 design, that this came up as something necessary that we complete this step in order to get the proper design for Business 51.
Thank you. Questions from the committee members? Members of the public? All right. We have a motion on the floor and a second to approve the funding for the one-way pair conversion study. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed would be no. Motion carries. Wonderful. Excuse me. Item 5, discussion and possible action on the approval of claims paid. I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the amount of claims paid.
We have a motion, and do we have a second?
I'll second.
About that. Any discussion on the claims that have paid? Anything that stands out as unusual or questionable?
No.
No? Any members of the public who might have questions about claims paid? Wonderful. All those in favor of the motion to approve the claims paid, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed would be no. And that is carried. And item 6, adjourn into closed session approximately 7, we always get that wrong, 7 p.m. pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.85, paren 1, paren E, for the deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. This is specifically for item A, negotiating a development agreement for a possible project in TIF, Tax Incremental Financing District number 10. I would entertain.
I make a motion to go into closed session.
There is a motion on the floor to go into closed, and,
I'll second.
oh, okay.
Wow.
Inside joke.
Yeah, I figured.
We have a motion and a second to go into closed session. All those in favor, please say aye.
I think,
Oh.
so typically we do
Yeah,
a roll call.
Roll call.
If-
You don't have to, I found out
Yeah.
by statute, but we'll
Okay.
do a roll call just
Yeah,
because we've already
Thank
always
you.
done
We've
it.
traditionally
Yes.
done that, yeah.
Let's
So,
stay with tradition.
okay, Dalton,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Morrow.
Aye.
Okay, 3-0.
All righty. And we are in closed session.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.